gonna start daycare. Yes. I would do it. I like Sam. It was our Sam. It was called Cherry Sam.
No way.
And it was all the new kids.
We know how title is.
And then Sam's a dance.
Yeah, I was like,
Free speech from shore to shore.
Okay, we're going to vigil for a few more minutes, then end today's great action. It was a great walk. It was good to walk. We're glad we made the decision to walk on the street, not get on the L. But Monday evening,
yesterday, 70-degree day yesterday. We lost 20 degrees, but we gained 2,000 people. We're gonna get everybody in Philadelphia out in these streets. Yes. So look, I don't know if you've noticed, it's a little chilly up here. I'm all by my lonesome. But this is people-powered movement, y'all, so we're gonna need everybody all the way over there on the other side of City Hall to bring it in just a bit. We're gonna take care of each other. We wanna bring it in. We're gonna be getting started in just a few moments. All right? For all, this right is not conditional. And there's nothing that makes it conditional for you. Your immigration status doesn't take away your right to free speech. Yeah, go ahead and clap for that. Once again, there is no qualifier for care, for dignity, for protection, for safety. Especially when you're committing yourself to protecting others and amplifying the safety of others. Make some noise. So of course, Philly's gonna do what Philly's gonna do. Philly's gonna do what Philly's gonna do, which is come out here and take these streets like we own these streets. To let the White House know, to let our city know, to let the state of Pennsylvania know what exactly we need and want. Not just from our elected officials, because some of them think that wearing pink is the way that you protect each other. No. We know it's going to take imagination. We know it's going to take courage. We know that it's going to take bold action to protect each other and to protect our free speech. Right now, this administration is setting an incredibly dangerous precedent. So it's going to take all of us, all together, to let them know that we will not abide it. Who's here, about to sing for you.
Hey everybody, I'm Batya.
I'm Jay.
And we're gonna sing a song. We're gonna lead a song when we invite you all to sing with us. This song came through the day after Trump was elected in 2016. And it's a song that is about remembering our agency. Remembering that we have power and support here. Our communities that are holding us, our ancestors, and all of spirit, however you connect to the interconnection of all beyond ourselves, supporting us. So I'm gonna just teach you one word, okay? Repeat after me. Rise, try that. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna sing, and if you just have that, strong and sing it. Yeah, you got it. All right. We rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, rise, with spirit to guide us, rise, in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. All of the children rise. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise up from the wreckage. Rise.
citizen, and I'm also a member of New Sanctuary Movement, a faith-based immigration justice group organizing across Philadelphia. And I want to say, as a pastor, as a follower of Jesus, I follow someone who believes in causing discomfort, who believes in inflicting discomfort on the comfortable. So
Incredible. You can't deport a movement. 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 Say you can't deport a movement. You can't deport a movement. They might come for 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 10,000 or 10 million of us, but if each and every single person on this planet understands that they have a right to be, to live, to thrive, to trust, to grow old in a free, liberated world. We hang on to each other. They can't take shit from us. They can't take anything from us. I'm sorry, Sam. I didn't mean to curse. I can't help it. Fine enough. What do you do? When we hang on to each other, choose each other, protect each other, stand with each other when it's inconvenient, stand with each other when you stand to lose something, then we stand to gain everything. We have to risk for each other. We have to risk for each other. And every single person up here, they've got skin in the game. They've been risking. They do the work. They spend the time. And so we will learn with them. We will learn for them and through them. We're all we've got. Philadelphia knows better than anybody. We're all we've got. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause say what? Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people. One more. That's it. Y'all ready for more speakers? Give me 10 jumps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you, Dee, and thanks to the Ed Department for inviting the Peace and Solidarity Commission to give this class. I'm Henry Lohendorf, and I chair the Peace and Solidarity Commission of our party. What we propose in today's hour-and-a-half class is the following. First, we'll provide a common foundation for why we need a strong peace movement to combat U.S. imperialism. We'll also review the activity of our party in peace and solidarity movements. Second, we'll explore actions comrades can take who are already focused on peace and solidarity, and we'll examine how comrades whose main organizing work focuses on social movements like labor, environment, and immigrants' rights, how they can include anti-imperialism in their work. Let's recognize that President Trump is saying some very interesting things that seem to favor peace and cooperation over war and conflict. He's stating the US should actually talk to its adversaries, something novel. He speaks about ending the war in Ukraine and about reducing nuclear weapons arsenals. These are important issues to raise. To date, the US ruling class has pretty much avoided talking about them. Let's take advantage of Trump's opening up on these issues to discuss with our communities how the working class can stop the war machine and arrive at peace and justice. Truly, Trump is not a peace president. He's demanding the ethnic cleansing of Gaza so he can build luxury resorts and take a cut in the oil and gas reserves off Gaza's shore. Let's also remember that Trump works primarily for himself and the billionaire class. He has never, repeat, never advocated for the working class, for immigrants, students, women, or the LGBTQ workers and their families. US imperialism is constantly forcing its policies to exploit the working class of other countries and on weakening the working class at home. Here are some slides to make the point. This map shows some of the countries that the US has violently attacked, invaded, bombed, or overthrown their governments. As you can see, practically every country in the world has been attacked by the US at some point. Here are a series of maps showing US military bases around the world. The US runs around 800 military bases to project military power and threaten all nations. First of all, these are the military bases the US has in the Western Hemisphere. Now we're adding a map that shows countries with US military bases in Europe and in Africa. Please note that the two countries with no bases, that is Iran and Russia, these countries, the US has turned them into enemies. Now we add the third map that completes the pictures of countries hosting US bases in East Asia. You can see these surround China and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, two more countries that the US has designated as enemies. The US is number one in military bases by far. No other country comes close. Beyond military intervention and subversion, the US uses economic warfare called sanctions to try to force targeted governments to do the bidding of US imperialism. This map shows the 40 or so countries on which the US has illegally imposed sanctions. How do these sanctions work? They prevent the country from engaging in international trade. That means the people in the targeted country can't purchase foods, medicine, replacement parts from abroad. It means those countries can't sell their products abroad to earn money to buy what they need. The people of Cuba, Venezuela, and Syria, among others, are hard hit by sanctions. Their economies are weakened and people are starved and suffocated. Sanctions aim to break popular resistance to imperialist demands. The cost of the US war machine to taxpayers in this country is shown by this pie chart. The dark blue is the military budget. More than 2/3 of the money Congress votes to appropriate every year goes to the military. This is our tax money, not paying for our needs: hospitals, infrastructure, affordable housing, public transportation, teachers' salaries, college education, all these things. Half of this annual cost of war, which is the cost is $1.2 trillion a year now, goes directly into the pockets of Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing, and the remaining merchants of death. This is the definition of a war economy. In his classic text, Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism, Lenin shows that capitalist competition inevitably leads to monopoly and the end of competition. The monopolies do everything they can to obtain the highest profits, including replacing workers with machines, robots, and AI. To increase their profits, these large corporations move production abroad to take advantage of low wages and less environmental regulation. But there's more money to be made outside of manufacturing. Monopoly corporations prefer to move their investments into financial services because the profits there are greater still. They also manage international lending institutions like the World Bank and IMF to build their power and their profits. As you know, President Trump is using tariffs aimed at preventing competition from overseas manufacturers or as a bargaining chip for other demands he might want to make. Another way to block competition is for the US to totally ban imports, like from China, preventing China from selling its high-tech products or banning it from buying high-tech from anywhere else. Because access to energy is essential for every country to survive, the oil monopolies demand to own reserves and distribution of oil and gas. The US acts as against any country that refuses to turn over control of fossil fuels in the Middle East, in Venezuela and Russia. In the same way, the monopolies demand control of minerals like lithium used to power electric vehicles and electronics. Our conclusion is the US promotes conflict around the world because monopoly corporations use our government to profit them, not provide for our needs. Right now, there are splits in the ruling class over how best to accomplish this for them. One way or another, the US uses war, military bases, sanctions, assassinations, and coups to achieve the requirements of imperialism. At the same time, the money spent on weapons and war is not spent on workers and our communities' need. The result for us is shorter lifespans, poorer health and educational outcomes, and an unwillingness to tackle the climate crisis. The peace movement, us, we are charged to turn this state of affairs upside down. Now Emil will provide some background on the peace and solidarity movements, and in particular, on how our party has historically opposed imperialism.
Thank you, Henry. My name is Emil Skepper. Some of you may know me. I'm active in the leadership of the Virginia district of the CPSA. I'm also a member of the Peace and Solidarity Commission, and have been very active in international solidarity work for many decades. And Henry has given me a very good basis for what I'm going to say, as he indicated. First of all, the CPUSA derives its attitude toward international solidarity from the last words of the Communist Manifesto: workers of all nations unite. This means we commit to organized defense of the workers and oppressed mass imperialism and its local allies and puppets attack or threaten them. We have a long history of specific actions based on this position. To name just the first one, during the Spanish Civil, well, not the first one we were involved in, but that I'm going to list. We were involved in the Spanish Civil War from 1936 to 1939. We organized support for the Spanish Republic against the attacks by Franco and by Hitler and Mussolini. We raised funds, we did political education work, and in some cases, some party members went to Spain and fought in the Republican Army's ranks and even died doing so. And that has continued. We have continued to make international solidarity a central part of our political activism. In the 1950s against the Korean War, the 1960s and 70s against the Vietnam War, with very large mobilizations, not confined to our party, because the best way we work is when we manage to reach out to much wider constituencies than our own membership. So it articulates to mass work too, in labor, in the civil rights movement, the environmental movement, and so forth. We have mobilized in support of the peoples of Central America, of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, against dictators that were being sponsored and funded by US imperialism. Over and over again. There's hardly a period in which we weren't doing that, and in many other places. This activism is related to our activism against war and warmongering. In other words, there's not a difference between our general international solidarity and our anti-war agitation. Right now, we are agitating against the U.S. supply of arms to Netanyahu's right-wing government in Israel, which is being used to commit genocide against the Palestinian people and is threatening also the Palestinians in the West Bank and the city of Jerusalem. Our work against imperialism and war is also in the service of U.S. workers. In fact, when the United States and U.S. corporations suppress the living standards, the wages, the working conditions, and damage the environment of other countries, generally non-European countries and poorer countries, does this help workers in the United States? Our enemies in the right, the Trumps and the Elon Musks and so forth, would try and convince you that they're protecting us against dangerous foreigners. in everything they do. In fact, by making poor people poorer in other countries, the United States is also undercutting the wages and living conditions and working conditions of workers in the United States. And that's an important fact we should always remember. And we'll touch on it in some of the specifics later on in this class today. So we invite all party members to engage in these struggles. Many of you are already involved in some of them, in the issue of Palestine and Gaza, in the issue of Cuba, and so forth. And I will finish there, and I will pass the baton to Comrade Sharon.
Hi, thank you. So in the next part of our presentation, we want to show the breadth of the many separate but very much connected parts of the peace and solidarity movement by citing some key examples. Our party's strategic goal is to stop hot and economic wars alike and replace the system that makes both types of war inevitable. Our movement must continue to use all possible tactics, from street heat to coalition building to lobbying to running for public office. In building both separate peace-oriented organizations, as well as leading anti-imperialist efforts within other organizations, notably or especially the union movement. With those tactics, we unite with all around the world who suffer under US imperialism, including immigrants who are denied the right and opportunity to stay home and pursue rewarding, peaceful lives. We take inspiration from the view of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who, a year before he was assassinated, drew the connections between the fight for equality and civil rights and the fight to end the war in Vietnam and to end militarism generally. He said, "Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world." So first, I'm going to let Henry return to discuss several important organizational forms for directly building the peace movement, and then we will follow that with a series of other comrades speaking about the work that they are doing. Henry, please take over again.
Thank you, Sharon. To counter imperialism, we must build the peace movement. The U.S. peace movement is infrequently unified, as it was when it opposed the war in Vietnam or during the nuclear freeze movement in the 1980s, or in trying to stop George W. Bush's war on Iraq in 2003. The peace movement has been divided over the recent wars in Ukraine and in Syria, where some in the peace movement have backed the continuation of those imperialist wars, a definite contradiction.